What is going on, guys? Welcome to today's episode. We are on episode 3 of the Avatar Realms Collide podcast. And here is our host, your boy Sky. I don't know why I said it like that, but I'm just gonna roll with it. From 1020 server 1023, and I am here with a special guest from a server 1032, Zeus. Introduce yourself, sir.
As you may know, Zeus from 1032 kind of started out in World 6 and kind of had a free-to-play run, and then when I wanted to spend a little, we jumped servers after Chronicles finished, and here we are, about a year down the track, still playing the game.
Nice. That is awesome. Glad to have you here, man. Glad to have you here. Just want to kind of, so 1032, so you came from 10, I want to say 06. I say 1006, but it's actually server 6. Server 6, come for server 6, and now you went to 1032. After kind of tell me what happened in 1032. How did you get to your place right now? I think actually I think you're sitting at 250 mil power, which is like one of the big dogs.
Oof, I wouldn't go that far. Definitely up there. I think 251. I think after up a little bit today. My bad. I think that consists of about 12 mil T6s at the moment and just a bunch of random T5s as well. But pretty much how we got to our state is, like I said, started in 6. Found a couple of guys that I really enjoyed playing with and a couple of in real life mates, and we kind of formed a bit of a leadership team. And once we finished Chronicles and all kind of had a bit of time off, we jumped to the newest server that opened, which happened to be 32, obviously, and then made our life super easy having a trusted 6 people straight off the bat who knew how to play the game. It just made the early game of just so much easier, and could trust everyone. And I think from there that really solidated our foundation in 32, and surprisingly enough, almost all of them still play today.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, honestly, if I had all my OG players in 23 that I played all since the beginning, I'm left with 1. So that's pretty legit that you guys have everybody still, all your original leadership still playing to this day. Speaking of leadership and everything, you were in Gods, and Gods, if anyone does not know, Gods was the #1 alliance in the game. I think you guys, what were you guys at? I think it was like 7 point. I want to say, oh no, my bad. Was it 7? My bad. It was 8 bill power.
Yes, sir.
My bad. So, my man here, coming in with 8 bill power, but I kind of see a new thing where, gods are no more. You want to say a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we were able to max out our alliance research within the year on 32 in Gods. So considering there's not really anything else to donate to, we thought we may as well all move across to the second alliance in our world. So we just transitioned, moving pretty much 95 players across to the second alliance, and now we're just maxing out their research for migration. Pretty much so when people come to 32, all the research is done, warfare's done, gathering's all done, and we don't have to worry about that.
Very smart, but Gods to HOH, HOH, what the heck, who came up with that? Or how'd that come along?
I mean, it's my boy Hades. He's been my co-R5 for the last year, and had to give him some respect, so House of Hades it was. Just obviously his name's Hades in game, and he's been up with me side by side for the year, and I think currently he's in 191 mil with a max 5th skill upper, which is
let's go.
Very nice.
Let's go. Beefy. All right, sick. So going off of that, switching into different ones, I want to say actually I've seen you a lot in the higher war zones lately. Speaking of that, you guys had a pretty good run with that. Now, do you think the new alliance is going to not the reason, since you don't have all the warfare maxed out, do you think that's going to play an effect with you guys or not? Or
Well, like considering with the research, like 5% HP we're missing, which is going to be kind of significant to an extent, especially like against 23 and 35, 24. All the stronger alliances. It kind of all comes down to research, to be honest, which makes a difference. So when you're on even par, it's makes it a lot easier. But it'll be challenging for us, but that's all right. At least it gives us another hurdle to get around and get over.
I get you. I get you. Yeah, yeah. I want to say, I do believe you guys do have one of the most like one of the highest participations like actually in the game. I want to say like as far as MGM in general, like I don't see a lot of people in the high 30s or in the 30s that often alongside 1023 lately. But I'm saying like, but if it's not from 1023, it seems like it's more everywhere else as well, or you guys as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it doesn't seem like too many servers again. Up in the 30s or mid 30s. I think, like you said last podcast, I'd
Mhm.
love to see your 25s and all your other even 35 and stuff like that all merging together, um, to kind of create like a 120, 140 person war zone.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I
be
would say
heaps of fun.
I would
You know.
love to see people do that. I mean, like my last MGM was actually so much fun with so many people, so much action going on consistently. I wish everybody would experience that. Going into
But
that,
you already know the difference.
yeah, going into that, we spoke a little bit about servers and stronger servers. You have any like actual for the newer players in the game, if they're wanting to know the strongest alliances servers, who would you say like is the in the strongest server book in your eyes?
I mean, it's super difficult to say because unfortunately, like Alliance Power, you know, obviously we're at 8 bill,
Mm,
and you guys are at 7.5, 7.6, or 7.7 by now.
7.6. That's okay.
Yeah,
I will
and
take that from
but you guys are getting 80, 90 people donating weekly. Whereas these other servers that might be high up, might only be in 30 or 40 people donating weekly, but still maintaining 7 bill power. So it's quite difficult to kind of ascertain and tell who's the most active. But I
Hmm.
mean, on the come ups is 46, but like for sure, Basing
Yeah.
Say and Hell, side by side in
Yeah,
rankings
even
almost
they have a
everywhere.
third alliance that's actually solid too. Clam, I think it's Clam. I think they're called. I think those guys like they actually have some players in that alliance as well. So I think they do have like three solid alliances in that server as well. So
Yeah, like if you're going based off last rankings, Basing Say was 5 bill, and then I think Hell is about 4.6, and I dare say that's probably mostly active power. So
hmm.
obviously they're a couple months behind us, but I dare say they're probably going to be well and truly in front of us by the time they actually come together.
Yeah,
So there's servers like that, but then you've got your 7-9, they're still super active across
yeah. I
multiple
mean that's
alliances.
perfect example. Server 9, server 10, like they have all these alliances that are pretty active. They're actually one of the more active servers of the older side. You just don't really hear much outside of like server 9, server 10. Like I would say whenever I say you don't hear about it, I'm saying more along the lines like the like a top whale, as we say. I mean outside a quarterback, that is. But
Yeah, they definitely struggle, especially 10. Like we got to verse them, I think 2 volts ago, and they got the players, they got the numbers, but
mm,
it's having just that one skin whale with all the skins and all the Gen 2 and
yeah.
the fifth skill up, like it makes such a difference, just to be able to compete really.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Because
I'd
you know
say
I,
like
I,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I stacked a post for 3 marches. That was it, just upper and 3 marches, and I ate 3 rallies of 30 out of 30, and I didn't even replenish. Like, it's just so depressing. Like, the fact that they can get so many people, so many rallies, and consistently like a good, strong group of people just
Hmm.
defeated because
You're just missing that
stat. Yeah.
one big player, one, and so on. I actually said the same thing. Like, honestly, like with 35 and one of our MGMs, DJ was in there. And it was DJ, and I would say, yeah, it was DJ in 35 with his skill 5 Appa. And it was actually very difficult to, fight against fire of 35. Not just let alone that, if you have that Appa to lead the rally, then you have everybody else with solid gear, solid hero, solid, and so on, just to fill in that rally itself. I mean, it is makes it a world of difference. And then that same thing with server 14 with Beach. I think they were in T whenever we faced them. I want to say it was T. But yeah, like that was another prime example. Those guys with, they're leading their marches with, a skill 5 Appa or max skill 5 Appa with everything else. Like, it's actually, I mean, you're right. I mean, it does make the world of a difference. But going into like server 10, in my eyes, like server 10, you have the people, but again, like, they're still at 20 some members, and that's awesome. I would love to see, the other 2 alliances or other 3 alliances join, like Blue Spirit or so on, and just, have that 40 members, even 40 members. Like, you could be a problem by just taking all kinds of territory, with those kind of numbers.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it makes a world of difference. Like, before we merged, I think we were getting, 20, 25. And when you're going up against other people, with 20 as well, like it's competitive. But then on the other corner, you got another guy with 20 coming straight at you. Like, it just makes it so unplayable. And I think that's where numbers really start becoming important in MGM for just territory and, taking links and intercepting, marches and stuff like that. It makes a world of difference to be able to reinforce, posts or vault, or, just to cut people off so you get a chance of the vault. And it's definitely easier defending than attacking, that's for sure.
Oh, well, without a doubt. I mean, I agree 100% with you. Like, whenever we had 20 to 25 to 28 members per MGM in the first couple, like, it was kind of difficult. Like, it really was, like, to you focus on your post, but then your links are getting cut off because you're like, your main people are really focused on the post and trying to capture those posts, and then it's like, okay, we got to get the vault. But then little do we see that, they're cutting our link off, and then once they cut your link off, then you can't even take any more territory, so you quit focusing on the posts, and then it just kind of spirals in behind you, like 100%.
I'm well aware, definitely well aware. I had a nice little vault against, I think it was 14 and 24, and we got sandwiched, and that was just, it was just so rough. It was just so tough. And then I think in the other side we had, 13. Shout out to the 3 people that rocked up there, but that just, just so unplayable for us. And I think we ended that one in a draw, I think. So, it was
okay,
good to see.
that was your draw. Okay,
might have been the loss, but we had 2 back-to-back, which was just sandwiched, and it was just rough. But that was pre-merge, so I was still pretty happy with that. So we'll take it.
For sure. Now, like, after you guys merged, do you feel more confident with going into MGMs now, or like, does it seem a little bit less like, I want to say less stressful for you, or do you go into it with more confidence, I should say?
Oh, like, there's always going to have that confidence aspect when you're getting a solid 30, 35 people rocking up. But I mean, you ask my guys, it's I think I put out something about Vault maybe a couple of hours before, and it's just like, go have fun, let's just replicate what we did last time, and then everyone knows that we got a couple of people that reinforce and a couple of people that intercept marches, and that's about it. Like, we don't really have much more gameplay other than during the hour, we've got a couple of people that direct, and
pretty much
that's about
just
it. Like, it's
raw,
here to have fun.
Gamers that just know how to play the game.
Pretty much, like, we've learned over time, so we're kind of all in that aspect of, like, let's just have fun, man. Like, winning's the massive bonus here, and it's definitely, it feels good when you win. But you know what? I think, like, the first vault, we versed you guys way back in the day, and that was probably to this day still one of the funnest vaults that I had, because it was the first MGM like cross server, so everyone just stacked alliances and it was just good fun. Sadly we didn't get a couple of whales at the time.
Yeah.
But what, I think we had, what did we have, like a 7-8 minute vault fight or something?
Yeah,
that
I was
went
curious
down to
about
the
that
wire.
match. That, yeah, you guys had vault, and you guys had vault. We took it back with a rally, and it literally lasted about like 6-7 minutes. Now keep in mind, guys, like this was before pets or APA in general, so like fights decided to take so much longer. And that's something also, I mean, just to bring up too, like APA makes such a big difference in the fights now. Like I'm telling you, especially pretty much a skill 5 APA, like the fights usually like took like maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Nowadays, like a skill 5 APA, I'm telling you, like they only take like 2 minutes max, and that's what's like a max, like another skill 5 APA. Like it doesn't take long whatsoever. So don't just telling everybody out there, if you are holding vault and you're facing a person with a skill 5 APA, like and there's 2 minutes left, they can still take it, and then take the vault from you. I'm just saying. I mean, obviously they can't restore, but still, I'm just saying.
Hey, a draw's a draw.
I mean, yeah, that's like with your guys' one vault that you had. You did draw. Did you? Oh, you guys just lost. You guys just lost the vault itself. I couldn't remember if you guys were actually attacking or you guys were defending. Okay.
No, we were defending. I think there was like 7 seconds left, and the rally ended, and then it ended.
That's heartbreaking.
It was very, very depressing. Yeah, it was rough, and I don't think we fully reinforced it like with our main main squads. I think there was 1 or 2 squads in there that could have been replenished, I think. And I think that would have been the difference to hang on for those 7 seconds. But you know what? It was still a great vault. It was definitely fun. But obviously, it definitely sucked not getting
not
that
to get the win. I know what you mean. I respect
held
that.
it for almost 15 minutes and just lost it.
Last second, somebody getting a good march off and so on. I get that. I mean, it's pretty rough. Speaking of that, like when you go into MGM and so on, like, do you think what was the, I want to say, I know you said some have been your favorite. Is there anyone that you haven't faced yet that you would care to face, that you kind of want to see or go against?
Definitely a rematch against SYG in 25. We got to verse them, I think, in 1900, like unmerged. And just everything that could go wrong. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. Like I think we lost our link. I think we didn't get like a post rally off because everyone was like locked up. So then we didn't get the first 2 posts, and then couldn't then obviously defend it. And having like 4 skin whales in SYG, as soon as they get in, it's just over.
So you're telling me Rava and Jonathan and all those guys, and
TBX and Belge,
everybody just
it's like, dude, they were leading with like Yang Chen, and like we still couldn't like breach it, and I was just it's so sad. Like Yang Chen leading and they're just defending.
It's great.
But we did have a couple of bugs on that one as well, though, which obviously is the MGM classic. I think we sent a rally and it was 30 out of 30, and we got the report and it was like 15 out of 30.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. But we weren't taking it.
Was that the glitch with MGM? That everyone
had?
No. I was okay. I remember that one now.
I think it was the one before Upper, I want to say.
Okay, that's fair.
But other than that, I mean, like we're running 0200, so I think that's tomorrow. For me. So I think T normally run 0200, so I wouldn't mind versing them.
Have you guys faced T yet?
I want to say we have once or twice, but I'm not sure if it was the merged T or the unmerged T. So.
Okay. I was gonna say don't get mixed up with the alliance that's in 18T. Sometimes I always get those 2 mixed up myself. Now, I mean, that's just me.
Oh, nah. 14.
Just
We held 14. See how they go. Not gonna lie. Sorry, 18. Forgot there was a T there. My bad.
Ooh, shoot, I tell you. going off of that, speaking of, other servers, has there been any like any servers on your radar that besides, we talked about a little bit about 46, with the upcoming rise of this, this server and so on, but is there anyone like out there that you see that's kind of coming out of, out of their shell or whatever to you?
Well, yeah, I think obviously 46 is probably a big one at the moment, especially just going off a couple of like growths and stuff, like alliance-wise and like world-wise, I should say. But I think 34, I think, slowly getting there. I think they've got a pretty tough arena cross with DJ and Serial and stuff like that. But they're climbing up in the rankings and stuff like that, and I think they won their last vault, last vault. So it'd be good to see them up in Warzones 1 and 2.
Okay. Now, do they normally play 2 or they do 19?
I think they're a 1900 crew,
Okay.
I believe. So it honestly depends with work for me if we run 02 or 1900.
Yeah.
But we try to get as many people, obviously, as we can. I think we're kind of favored at 1900, but
Honestly, I do think most players are honestly, like the most alliances and everything. I think the more player base favors 1900 than 2 UTC right now. I don't think it even shows how many participants, like how many teams or alliances are actually in 2 compared to 19. I think it's like such
double.
a big, maybe even triple. Like it's insane, and it's kind of crazy to me that like it's that favorable. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nice for the US as well. It's kind of midday in a way, and it's on the weekend. It's not too bad, but 2 UTC, I mean, that's really, I mean, personally, like this would, less than 24 hours we'd be in, here on MGM right now, we're ready to go, and that's not too bad for most US people, especially like West Coast. That's 7 o'clock, that's not too bad. But like going off of that, like, if there was a different time, if there was another time that you could pick that would be comparable, or a better time zone or time slot, let's say that, would you change it or would you keep the 2?
Put me on the spot. I mean, like you'd have to kind of just go halfway between 2 and 1900. But I think most of that time I'll be either late at night for the Aussies or early hours of the morning, even earlier than the 1900s. So I don't know. Obviously for us, considering we've got I think like 4 or 5 Aussies in our alliance that are kind of considerable, we probably would never opt for that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like being the only skin whale, with decent gear and a decent upper, like we just spoke about how much difference it makes. So unfortunately, like when I 5 stack vault, like it's a considerable difference compared to not being there.
Absolutely, I know exactly what you mean.
Like I think statistic wise, it's just as better as a max Gen 2 on my 5th March, even if it's Gen 1 level 29 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like unfortunately, other than if they've got a good upper, like my 5th March kind of just beats everyone.
Yep, I know exactly what you're saying. As far as
but I think another alliance actually is 1020. I think you guys have them in your arena cross. I think.
No.
Oh, sorry. 21.
21.
They've got a couple of skill 5 uppers coming out. So it'd be good fun to try and verse them and have a bit more of a skill 5 versus skill 5 matchup and stuff like that. I haven't had the pleasure of versing them. I think, are they in like 420x or something? I think.
Yeah, 420x.
Yeah.
Money being with his skill 5 up, just getting it. I would say maybe a few weeks ago. So that's it's a huge accomplishment. I should say, getting that, it's a big deal. It really is. With going into, you said, I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit here. I know we were talking about upcoming servers, alliances, and so on. We can come back to that. I'm gonna jump somewhere here. You said you're from Aussie. Obviously, you can see, or hear from the accent here. But is there do you think there's a lot of Aussies that do play the game, not, and so on? Like, where do you think this game really favors as far as around the world?
Oh, I think just global launch, you kind of saw of just how much the states really took over the game. Like I know it was soft launched back in I think about February time. Obviously last year for the Aussies and the
Hmm.
Canadians. So World Six was pretty much just Aussies and Canadians mainly, and then obviously a couple of others that had jumped from 1 to 5 to 6 and stuff like that. But I
Okay.
think day of global launch, I think they had like 9, 10, 11 all open up and all fill up all on the same day. So you know, um, kind of the states plus a little bit of European countries there, and just kind of took it over.
Hmm. Very interesting. I kind of think that as well. And I was just kind of sitting here thinking, like really, the main Aussies, like, I mean, really is like 6 and, 32. I think like 32 does have a good amount of them because, like you said, you ended up leaving 6 and then you decided to go into a new server, start fresh into 32. Um, but, going back into 6, like that, those guys, like, actually, when I'm thinking about it, I mean, they do usually get like 20 some people in that. I mean, now granted that I do believe it's a merged server and so on, but I think they do get 20 some players per vault, don't they?
Yeah, I believe they're all merged into FOC. I think there's also like Bunnings Warehouse still,
Okay, even better yet.
running around. I don't know if there's many people in there, but shout out the snags at Bunnings. But unfortunately, you won't understand that. But that's all good, mate.
Um,
But yeah, no, FOC obviously like pretty much a merged server. Let's be honest, and
yeah.
they're I think last vault we versed them, and I think they were like 20, 25, I think.
I mean,
Um,
just
but
going
they
off
only
of that.
focused us, so that was fun.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, just going off of that, that's actually kind of a little. I mean, it's impressive that they're still getting 20 members in World 6. Like that's before even that global launch, which is, like I said, kind of impressive. When I'm just like sitting here thinking about it, like that's, um, you go into World 5. How many do they have compared to World 4, 3, 2? PPG is the only other one that was kind of somewhat, like, I would
Consistent.
say, yeah, with a good chunk, at least 20 freaking members, but even then PPG was kind of like with 18, I think, or maybe like 15. Now I think, no, I think they're actually dropping more and more and more, but still, like, that's why I kind of just thinking before, pre or before global launch, like that was kind of a big thing. Now with that being said, it just kind of lost my train of thought as far as 32. Tell me something like with 32. You want to kind of tell like how myself and you met, or give me a little bit about the actual lore, a little bit of 32, I should say.
Well, the good fun lore of 32. Pretty much, I think it was day 2. Get a mail from this guy, and he was like, "If you don't stop looting my members, I'm gonna zero and and just zero your entire alliance out the game." I was like, "Wow, thanks. This guy is a great bloke." Um, Turns out he came from 23 as well, by the way.
Let's
Um,
go.
but obviously, just like with just a bit of experience in the game and stuff like that, we kind of just walled them off from Zone 2 in Zone 1 up in the northwest sector, and they ended up force moving down, I think, Southway, and then this guy kept talking about, President Sky, President Sky, if he comes, I'm quitting, blah, 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 and, I was like, who's this guy? Had no idea. And then eventually this guy rocks up called Elevate, randomly has T5s, and he's like 4.5 mil power in like just as soon as Zone 2 opens. Wasn't there the day before. And it turns out it was you. And pretty much from there, I was like, yeah, mate, this guy hates you, and we'll be best mates. I was like, here's Zone 2, you jump in, make an alliance, stay with us, whatever you want to do.
Being a
Um,
problem.
and so I think we ended up zeroing that guy like 3 or 4 times until he
Hmm.
kind of quit. And there was a lot of other things on the side, which like obviously we won't get
Yeah.
into. But it definitely made the server a lot better after that. And then yeah, kind of just obviously got talking with you, and you invited me to 1040, which I played for about 2 days, free to play, and invited me to the unofficial and got to know each other, and yeah, we're kind of here to this day. So yeah,
Yeah. I was gonna
other
say,
than
like,
that, I mean,
with that, yeah, with that being said, going into 32, Black kind of allowed me to go into his zone 2 that he had. I started this random, like, brand new alliance called iPro. Decided to just become like a problem when into this server here. Just kind of, I ended up fighting just an alliance that kind of threatened me, and I was like, okay, let's. I don't like people. I don't like bullies, man. So I was
Rest in
minding
peace,
my own
CP.
business and everything, and they threatened me, and then I was like, okay, well, then I ended up zeroing their leader, and next thing you know, Black's there just laughing in the background, just like, and those guys actually ended up quitting, unfortunately. But that's something I'll say about the game, and just about the game in general for everybody or the new players. And so if you're worried about your server dying, or your players quitting, or so on, like, they're going to quit eventually no matter what. Or if you think they're going to quit, they're going to quit then at some point. You can't be worried about players quitting on you or quitting the server, because at some point the people are going to quit. They're going to quit at some point. I mean, like, it's better off now, so you can get the strong people, strong minded players that come in later and actually will grind it out with you, stick with you guys through thick and thin. So just a little fun fact, for all the new players going out there with the newer servers. I hear it in the actual official Discord all the time, where there's bullies and so on and so on. These guys are killing a server, and I'm like, it happens in every server. So just giving you a little fun fact there. uh
yeah, I mean, like
Go
on
ahead.
that note though, like I kind of made a rule with my guys. I was like, we don't zero people just for the sake of zeroing. Like, we only loot them if they got resources and they're not bubbled. They're up for grabs, and once they've got no resources, we don't continue, keep hitting them. And we didn't do anything like that. Like, we just looted everyone on the server, and down the track, like, it was still quite an active server. And at this point, like, I hadn't whaled. Like, I spent a couple hundred, just as you do on Kyoshi and Azula at the start of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But
I
like,
want
I
to
think,
step in real quick here, Black, and I want to kind of let everybody know or understand something here. And this is not me, like, I want to give Black here, or Zeus, a very a huge, like, compliment here, because this man, back when I joined the server, I was pretty much the same power as this man. Like, whenever I joined in zone 2, like, I instantly was his power. I had T5s. I was ahead of him in his own server at one point. Pretty close. If I wasn't, I mean, I was pretty darn close. Like, I'm just saying. Then going into this man decided to just take it easy, passive, played very, very smart. And then afterwards, once he has his max, made sure the long researches, the long buildings, and all this stuff, like, he made sure that he had all the buffs to make that go as little as possible. He didn't have to use so many speed ups. He really farmed it out more closer to the free to play side, than rather than being one of the I would say big time players or spenders or whatever. So I just wanted to kind of chime in there and say that first before we got any farther. So I mean, you can go ahead and continue.
I mean, yeah, like, Sky kind of hit the nail on the head there. Like, I kind of only just dropped a couple hundred just to have a bit of fun and still, remain somewhat competitive with the big spenders. Like, Sky would have remembered Popeye that we had.
Mm-hmm.
He hit 112, 113 mil by mid zone 3 sort of thing, and there was another two that were kind of chasing him. So, I think I took the worm after Chronicles. I was about 28 mil after 2.5 months of playing or whatever it was. So, like, I
Crazy.
did not spend. But end of the day, that all came down to activity, strategy, and just knowing the game as well. I think that made the biggest
Mm-hmm.
difference for me. Like I always came in with the mindset when I first played this game of a free to play world, and then once I learn it, go spend a little bit. I had
Mhm.
never intended to spend as much as I have, that's for sure. But that kind of came in the unofficial, when I'd met Sky and rest in peace Dan and stuff, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get a skin, and so I got the Momo skin, and I think I dropped more on Momo skin than I had on the entire game at that point in
Mhm.
time. And after that, once you buy one skin,
Snowballed.
you just keep buying skins, and yeah, it was bad, it was bad. But yeah, like here we are, like what are we like? What's the date?
I mean, it's
13 months down the track, and
yeah.
I'm 250,
Yeah,
and
literally.
still playing.
Yeah,
Like,
almost over 200 mil more than what he was last year. So like that's freaking crazy.
wild.
I mean, it really is. So just wanted to, tip the hat to you or whatever. So kind of going off of that itself, Zeus, I kind of wanted to talk more. I just kind of want to say you are. I just kind of wanted to let everybody know that you are a pro player in the official, actually, excuse me, junior pro player.
Junior.
Junior. Okay, let's everybody understand that he is a junior pro player. That being the case, I would love to hear your thoughts, the current state of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, rock and roll kind of just hit me up about that the other day as well. It definitely has gotten stale at one point for sure. And I think by the time, I mean, for the later servers it's not too bad, but for the early servers, like I know, 1, 2, 3 and stuff like that, they didn't have invasions for ages. And then they finally got invasions and stuff like that. But most of our players, you started with invasions. There was no
Mm,
such thing as arena. Airships, that was different. Trail was only 200. Now it's 400. No one's been able to complete it yet, but that's probably going to be a T7 angle. And just the progression of the game, like since probably global launch, it's every 3 to 4 months they kind of really bring some stuff in.
mm,
And I know as a community, like a lot of us are kind of frustrated that it's going to be a bit stale or there's not a lot of content. Which they could probably do a lot more events, and just kind of have them on like an off cycle. Have
yeah.
X amount of events for this month, the next month we get these events, and then that following month the other ones come back, sort of thing, just to chop and change. But they added the arena, they've added like world boss and stuff like that, vault, especially, and then cross server vault as well. So look, they're getting there. It's just a little bit slow, for a lot of our likings, to be honest.
Yeah.
um,
I mean, you think
so there's
about
that
it,
aspect.
we all get on every day, play, grind, do all that stuff. But going off of that, what do you think? Uh, I think you said. I mean, I think you said it great. Like as far as it does get a little stale. Personally, myself, the greatest event that I think most alliances or players, that do play the game more actively and so on, not more as like a farming game. They all get to look for is MGM, and it's just kind of more stale. I feel at least it's starting to get more stale. But again, I'm just saying with us, in 1023 we end up we win a lot. It's not we were playing more consistent. I want to say the more I want to say it. The same alliances, which is kind of frustrating in general. Wish they would change those, matchmaking rules. I would say rules or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? The
No, that was a big one that I also put in the feedback to like R and stuff. Is just like scrap the hero availability in matchmaking. Like
mm,
let's just do the top 4. Like we don't need to spread power. Let's just whoever registers the most amount of people and the most amount of power, just put them together. Let them fight.
yeah,
Unfortunately, that will also just mean you verse the same people over and over again, as well. Um, but end of day, like when you guys are getting 35 people, we're getting 35 people. And then the other 2 people in the war zone might only get 15, 20. Like it's just a bit unfair for them,
yeah. But in the
and it's
same
always
note,
going to
though,
be
too, I think what could possibly happen, I think that's good for the game, is I think you will start getting more of a rivalry. You start having rivalries more rather than you know, I can, if the community doesn't really know, is in 1023 we have our rivalry, 1024. So like we always kind of go against each other in every event, like every cross server event. It's always like TGL, or you know, the new world boss, or the arena, and you know, now MGM and so on. But you know, if you consistently fight the same old play servers or alliances, like I think that could cause more of a rivalry, which could potentially, you know, spark the game's interest, you know. And I think it would entice more players to, okay, try harder, play better, or you know, do whatever they have to do to, you know, possibly win, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Like we versed 24, I think 3 times now. And the first one was a draw, and then a loss, and then a win. Um, and you know, like obviously, like we wanted that win, you know. But you know, I was more than happy to keep versing him. If anyone doesn't know, like 24's got, you know, like three really good skinned whales, and then there's like another 2 or so, or 3 or so skinned whales as well that just aren't quite there. But they've got a lot of like top strength. And so coming from, you know, a server with like just myself, like it makes it a lot harder. I've obviously got a really good core below me, which makes my life so much easier. But unfortunately, like I said before, there's such a massive gap between, you know, having a maxed account versus, you know, a non-maxed account.
Yeah.
And then which obviously makes your cross so much more competitive, especially like because you guys also have, you know, 4 skinned whales as well with, you know, max skill 5 uppers and stuff like that. So, you know, your cross is extremely competitive, at least now. It kind of did drop off when upper was released.
Yeah, I mean, it did,
became a very cushy arena.
I do think it's starting to. I will say, I do think it's starting to kick up a little bit. I will say, but even then, like there was nothing to necessarily keep working on at the time. Just like there's no rush. You know, server for server hasn't even been announced yet right now. So why rush to max out an opera within, you know, sure, it's going to help you in a couple of MGMs, but it's not that big of a deal. Like, I think the slow and steady race is the best way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you've kind of taken a leaf out of my book when I took a while to get there, and we kind of compared a bit of things, and you kind of realize, you know, how much less I've spent and how much further ahead I am. So I think you definitely did upper a bit smarter. Like I was buying the weeklies with, you know, Splitter, who was on last as well. And Splitter and I got, you know, skill 5 uppers at the same time and stuff. And I know I pushed Asian Persuasion in my bracket to get her skill 5 upper and max that out. And you know, she's at the moment really like my only competition. Shout out to her being 0-26 in the last 3 days, but that's all right. We'll get
bucket,
there.
Man. The helmet, man.
She's almost maxed her upper out. She's level 298, so you know, 8 more levels and she's completely maxed. So I think she would join, you know, Shro as the only other max upper in the game. She's already done her rank, which is, you know, crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, even then, that's like that's my bestie there, you know. So I would say, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, seeing that, you know, with a second player with the actual maxed oppa, that's pretty insane. I will say, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely wild, and it's good fun attacking her. Like we kind of have a thing, and it's, you know, as soon as I crack her formation or whatever, you know, she changes up. I don't just, you know, exploit it and hit her another, you know, 9 times that day. I just like, I take my win. I'm happy, you know.
Yeah.
And so it makes it heaps more enjoyable instead of just, you know, smacking the one person down 10 times a day.
And then going back and forth. I get that. Yeah. No, I mean, that's pretty deep, I will say. You know, do you think, I want to say, you know, if you had a guess on top of your head right now, how many skill 5 oppas would there be in the game right now, you think?
Or in the game? Or, I mean, if we go back 2 months, there was only like about 7 of us.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, there's so many more people getting them. Like, at least just off the crosses, off the top of my head, there's like at least 15, 20 people. So, and then they're only kind of the crosses that I kind of know. So,
yeah, right.
You know, probably looking at least 25, 30 by now.
I'm just kind of even thinking of it right now. Like, I'm gonna have to even hop on game here just to kind of go through my like the world list here, just to kind of get a brief idea. Like in holy heck, man, there's so many servers nowadays. I will say, um, no max, actually just three in server three with members. Uh, so that's one there. 4, 5, 6. No one in 4, 5, and 6. 8, 7. You know, 9.
Well, put it this
Obviously,
way,
QB. That's like
18, 18 out of the top 21 have, you know, fifth skill uppers and max too. Like, so,
yeah.
you know,
So
and that's
that's
only the, you know, the top 21. Like, if we keep going down, you know, I will, you know, shout out to him. He's got one. You know, Metz has one. I think
yeah.
Phoenix Lord's got one. The King Raw's got one. Jonathan, you know, Fire, Rico. Like, you know,
Yeah,
it just keeps going.
yeah, it does. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I think I would say probably like, and that's the thing that people get upset about is like, okay, now there's another gap. Well, the players like even like yourself, like what do you have to look forward to now? You know, you already have your Appa Max, and now all these other medium tier players, I should say, or player, yeah, you know, whales or whatever. The mid-tier whales are now getting, you know, skill 5 Appa while you already had, or the players already had it for, you know, maybe 2 months, or yeah, actually maybe even longer than that. You know, what do they have to work on? What did they have to work on this last 2 months, man? Like, really not much. So, you know, with
Well,
the new, which brings me in my next, you know, topic I wanted to talk about was with tier 7. You know, at least we're getting tier 7 here this next patch.
yeah. Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, R&R's kind of leaked a couple of things about it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of been it was kind of just like pitched out there, like, oh, you know, we're going to release T7s, and everyone was like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, even me, like, I think I dropped like 20,000 hours of speed ups recruiting troops. 24 hours later, they go, oh, we're releasing T7 end of May, and this was start of May, and I was just like, you're kidding. And they're going through with it too, which is kind of crazy. But let's be honest, like, you know, the game's been out globally launched for 14 months now, so
Mm-hmm.
you know there's been no progression post T6. And I mean, take someone like yourself. I think you had T6 within like what 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, it was within like it was pretty early on. I would say I think it's actually more along the lines like third or fourth week, something like that. I know it was in zone 1 still before we went into zone 2. But yeah,
Yeah, so
dumb.
you've been
But yeah, it's
waiting,
dumb.
you know, 14 months or whatever, for further progression, right? Like, so it's definitely crazy. Like the fact that you had them, you know, within the month, you know, that's just wild. And
For most low spenders and free to players, you know, they know it's a serious grind to get there and stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, shout
yeah,
out to all the free to play players too. I mean, but you know, whenever, like I say, I got it in 3 weeks. You know, these guys, it literally almost took them a full year to, you know, get T6, which is kind of crazy to think about. Of constant dailies playing every single day, grinding, you know, sending out those farmers, putting on timers, and so on.
yeah, we had a man like that. I think he did it in 10 months, 100% free to play. Not a single dollar was spent on his account. And I think he got it to about 112, 113 mil within about 10 months, and then he quit, which was very
Yeah,
sad to
it's
see. That
unfortunate.
guy was taking out everything, like, you know, weekly donations. You know, he was all over everything. He had everything down to the T. Like, it was insane.
Hmm.
And definitely missed the guy. He shout out to him. He wrote a free to play little script that we got for our free to players to kind of follow and how to grow sort of thing. So he was definitely an asset that we unfortunately lost.
Yeah, you know, and you know, I kind of wonder like why did the players like that, you know, maybe not so much him, but just in general, why do you think the players' main reason for leaving the game nowadays?
It really depends on the player. I mean, half the time it's life,
Hmm.
especially for like some of the bigger whales. It's just kind of life gets in the way. And then for a bit of like the lower spenders or you know, free to plays, they kind of just feel like they can't catch up or they can't catch a break. Um, which, you know, like, end of day, it is a pay to win game, so you're gonna have to grind. Like, unfortunately,
Yeah,
that's just part of the game. And I think at the end of the day, it got a bit stale for him.
I get that.
I think like even like the world boss, man, like 80 mil, um, 80 mil points to get max rewards. You're not really seeing anyone without,
Yeah,
a
only the
max skill
players that
5
are,
up and
yeah,
getting it. Do you
exactly.
know what I mean? Like, so
Actually, shout out, I do believe in 1010, the moderator and the official name Anti, my boy, he hit 90 mil this last world boss with the fire one, I should say. He got 90 mil and he got the max rewards. I was like, yo, with the skill 4 Appa, that is sick. So props to you, man.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like there's a couple of, skill 3, like going on skill 4 with max heroes, max gear, and they're doing like, 65, 70 mil. Like they can't crack that 80. And, you look at it, they got the same heroes, same lineup, same gear as, players like us are running, and, we're kind of near doubling their damage. It's just wild.
Yeah.
And
I
like
mean,
there's a couple
even,
low spenders getting 3 mil.
yeah.
It's not a lot of rewards, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, at least it is something. I will say that, it was better than what they were getting in just the normal exploring thing, the Mystic Survey or whatever it's called. At least that's, at least they're getting more regardless on top of that, I will say. But and still, like, I agree, the world boss, I think, like I was saying, I'll repeat from episode 1, like, I love the look and the atmosphere and the graphics of the boss and everything. I love the actual the special effect, attack and so on, the cool effects that it gives off. But going off of it, like, it's pure RNG, like there's literally nothing. Who has the best RNG here? Like, it's crazy, like how RNG based it is. And
yeah,
for the players,
absolutely.
and for the people that do not know what RNG is, it's random number generator, which just comes pretty much at any given point. Whenever you put Lin Beifong into your, I want to say your March here, it just depends on how many times is her ability procs as far as lowering the defense onto Unavatu. So it's just kind of,
defense HP and then her increased base damage as well. Yeah, look, that's probably the one downfall of the boss, is just how RNG it is. As you know, like, I kind of sit there and kind of watch, right? Like, I mean, we kind of got a joke running. Like, I wait 48 seconds, for the troops to train. I don't waste the minute speed up. I watch the arena, like the trail battles and stuff like that. But World Boss, man, like, it's just all on RNG sort of thing, and I can't watch it. I just skip it, and once I get my 80, I'm happy. I don't really do much more, which is a bit unfortunate.
Well, there's just like nothing to learn from it, and kind of to gain. What kind of information do you gain from it? It's literally the same stuff, different day. You know what I mean? Like I say, you just throw in some troops. You may toss in a different march or so, and maybe it is still new. I'll give it maybe a little bit of slack here. It's still new, so but I'm just saying, like, it's a little bit disappointing for me, like, where it is so RNG based, I should say, at least in my opinion right now.
Oh, well, that's it. And like, end of the day, like the top rewards for it as well, it's kind of worth a bit of nothing for a lot of us. I'm not really gonna sit there, waste a squad boost and waste 4 hours of my life, trying to take first or something. Like, it's just, I'd rather spend the $5 on a pack and get the equivalent of the rewards instead of wasting my time. So
I get that.
So unfortunately, like, obviously that's coming from like my aspect, and for the low spenders and stuff, like, sometimes getting Guardian of Fire or General just to try and top you up to try and get that next.
I've definitely
stage
passed out
helpful.
GOF or Guardian Fire or at least my server
all
all
day.
the time. Yeah, just because people want to try to go for a little higher score and so on for better rewards. So if you guys don't, please ask for Guardian Fire or General if it's being used and so on. So you can use these little buffs to really benefit you just a little bit, a little bit extra damage onto the world boss to get you a little bit more pet rewards, I should say.
Yeah, 100%. Like, that extra 5% defense from Fire might give Lynn that extra half a second to get her debuff off, and you might get an extra mil or two out of it, sort of thing. So it's always nice to try and min max and stat max sort of thing when you go into this sort of stuff. But I know like Ciro and I have like we put back a lot of feedback about the world boss and stuff, and trying to get a bit of like a battle guide going, or battle rules. So hopefully we can kind of get a bit more of a breakdown there, so we can kind of, if you want to nerd out or geek out over it, you can.
Oh shoot! I tell you, I feel that. With that being said, with that being one of the new world bosses, I should say, that coming into the game, we have T7 now coming up here with next week. A lot of new, I shouldn't say a lot of new content. Like I don't want to say T7. I do like how there is a new, I don't want to say resource, but what I want to say, an item. What would you call it?
Oh yeah, it's just another resource.
Okay.
It's gonna be very similar to like gems. I don't think they're gonna be lootable. So that's a good thing there for a lot of smaller players. Because I know there's a lot of players that are gonna want to try and maximize their crystals.
Greedy. I want your crystals.
Yeah, but I'm definitely excited for it. Like they've kind of like the patch notes coming out are like quite good in relation to every other player before they kind of go T7. Unfortunately, I can't really dive too deep into that, but they've kind of balanced it out for a lot of the the smaller guys or free to players and stuff like that to help them kind of get there in the end.
That's cool.
But a couple of things R&R has leaked in the VIP
absolutely.
group chat. Like the Bending Academy, like the new skill trees sort of thing to unlock T7. It looks really cool. It looks like they've kind of put some effort in. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I do think I do like how there is something new, something to work on, especially for the people that like I said, they finished their oppas. They're kind of, I say finished their oppas, like once you get all your skills up, guys, like there's really nothing much. And not even all the skills. Like once you get to skill 5 and you have it max, there's really not much. You really don't absolutely need to have this 3rd skill max. You really don't need to have the 4th skill max. It's not like gonna be that big of a twist onto everything, I should say. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But this does get.
That's exactly right. I mean, my 3rd skill is 33 and 9, and I've had a max 5th skill for months, so I'm just slowly working towards it on the expeditions and chest packs and stuff like that. It's no real rush because like one, I've got enough troops, but server v server's not here, so it's not really impactful for me at this present point in time.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much a lot of people what they're looking forward to, and migration, I should say. I do think that's like the number one thing that's brought up into the VIP chat is just straight on migration. Like, when's it coming? Please give us migration. But I would actually really like to see a new roadmap. In all honesty, I would love to see a new roadmap because I think we're starting to get at the end of the end point of our old roadmap. But and speaking of roadmaps and so on, if you have any ideas, like what are some of your thoughts, or you have any ideas, like what they could work on, what could they give us, if you were to give a dev an idea for creation or content creation into the game, what would you say would be a good idea?
I mean, for myself, and I think a lot of like the whales or like the competitive people in Arena, just opening it up to kind of everyone. It would be a lot nicer. A million different names. You don't know who you can beat. Like when a crossover Arena first came, it kind of took a couple of days to work out who you can beat, and who you can't beat. And there was players like myself who I was like a million powers short. They might have an extra 10 levels of gear on me, but I had a couple skins, so the skins kind of gave me that bit of edge. But I like to see like all servers kind of over that year old mark kind of get opened up to everyone else, and kind of at this point in time, I think it would be like server 35 to 1 sort of thing would be opening, all in one arena, all get to fight each other.
I'm glad you're
and with
keeping 46 out of that and leave 46 with Shro's max op out of our.
yeah,
Our
I don't
bracket.
need that guy. I already got Asian here, so I don't need him. God, that would be a devastating attack log every week. But on that note, in order to kind of try and balance it out, I'd really like to see TGL and the wheel get opened up to the person's preference, sort of thing.
Okay.
So you can kind of select your shard reward or your wheel character, and then you kind of have everyone on the similar TGLs. People can go for who they want to go for, and especially for like the free to players or the low spenders. It's pretty hard to max out legendary heroes. So if you can get 6 TGLs of like the same hero and max that, like it's definitely going to help kind of keep them around and stuff like that. And unfortunately, like a lot of us just keep maxing because the heroes keep getting better. So that's a bit tough.
I think that's a really good idea. I think that, in my personal opinion, I don't no dev guys that I don't really know. Going off of whenever they do open up the arena even farther and so on, I think that's whenever Gen 3 gear would come out. It'll be even a bigger arena, you know what I mean, once they release Gen 3, because it is coming, but maybe not soon, but it is coming. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. But I do think that would be, I actually really like both those ideas in general. And to kind of a two-parter here. Personally, myself, I would like to see more of an alliance versus an alliance based challenges, whether it's a gathering, see how much of your alliance actually gathers nodes for a small reward. It doesn't have to be huge. There's some sort of event like that, something small for some small rewards, or let's say it's like a TGL style, not necessarily a TGL style, but saying, hey, how many your alliance or the alliances in cross server faces each other with how many skulls they hit, or how many forts they hit, and then how many and then it's kind of like based like of a TGL style in a way. And then what ends up happening, it doesn't have to be huge, but it could be like the first server gets 5 legendary shards or 10 legendary shards, or maybe even pet chests, or something stupid, or I say stupid or small like that, just something to kind of keep going against other players, other alliances, other people, and so on. But again, like, I want to see it open up farther. I think it should be a higher risk that you want to go. You can base it off of, I want to base it off of, like, if we're server 1023, we want to have a 10 server radius. So anything from 1013 to 1033, we have a chance to face these guys, or if we have a higher score than him, we'll rank, get higher or better rewards because, hey, we're risking more, or hey, we did beat all these guys. Now, your screen may look different if you're in 1032, because you say, hey, I only want to face 2 servers down, or whatever, a 2 server radius. I think that would be cool too. And they can use that like idea or thought into, I'd like to see them more into using like MGM, the war zones. I think there should be like war zone 1, 2, 3. I think that should be your higher end rewards more than what we're getting now, opposed to being, war zone 13, 14, 15, 16,
Yeah, I mean, like now you mentioned it, like, there's a lot of servers out there that are only, registering 20 people because they might only have 15 showing up. And like, unfortunately, I think it was a 203 or no 204 or something like that last vault, and it had like 15 players in it total or something. And Germ was one of them by himself. You know what I mean? Like, and they're getting the same rewards as what you guys got when you versed. I think you had 122 players on that Warzone. So I mean, it would be nice to kind of have a bit more, but then that obviously comes down to, oh well, that's unfair because whoever's the strongest server is going to keep getting stronger. End of the day, like, we work towards it.
But
that was our goal.
Like, you wouldn't want to merge your server together or work together in a server to get the better rewards, to get into a higher, and you're risking more. Now, if you lose, you don't get as much. You come in fourth or you come in third or whatever, and so on and so on. Like, I think that would be, personally, like I said, that's my little thoughts there.
It just makes it more competitive, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of alliances out there these days that are kind of like, it's just another MGM. I can't really be bothered. If we lose, I'm only going to get 6 shards or whatever from territory. So there's a couple are like that. So I mean, that was going to kind of really bring people in. But I think the first year anniversary events, when they had the alliance versus alliance, that was pretty cool. That was really nice.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
the
that.
idea was there. The rewards not so great, but the idea and everything, like, I
Whoa,
like that.
3 dice. Come on, relax.
I mean, 3 dice. Wow, guys. Wow. Definitely could have done a little bit better. No, don't get me wrong. I'm very happy and very blessed to get at least something, but still, I just some of these guys, I would love to see more, but you can't go too much, you know what I mean? So that's the thing, like, once a lot of these people, or in general a lot of people, like to, you give them a little bit, you give them an inch, they want a mile, you know what I mean? Like, they want more and more and more, oh well, I think you should give us 1,000 orbs instead of 100 orbs. It's like, what, dude, what?
Not 2,000.
No,
come on,
not 2,000. That can't happen. I don't think they'll ever do something like that.
Yeah, that was an accidental whoops. But anyway.
Yeah.
But no, sure. I'd really like to see some more push for a server v server sort of thing, or alliance versus alliance. Even server v server, like your servers like 9 and 10, where they've got 3 or 4 alliances. At least if they can all compete together for server 9 or server 10, and they get X amount of rewards across all of them, I think you're kind of going to bring the worlds together, so to speak, because I know there's a lot of divide along a lot of worlds still at this present point in time.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, now kind of speaking on that topic there with servers, what do you think, like, after migration, what do you think the game's going to do with let's say, for example, 1007, which anyone from 1007, please reach out to me, because I really don't know a lot of people from 1007 or server 7. So please, like I said, reach out to me. It's Dong. I'm Dong on the official Discord. So please, reach out. But anywho, just saying, like, I think for sure that, I'm kind of curious what happens to, let's say, everybody merges or everybody leaves server 7, and there's only like 10 players in there. What happens to that server then? Does it just stay as the live server, or what? I'm kind of curious on what's going to happen to these servers that aren't active at all,
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like, I don't think they've thought about that, to be honest. I think they kind of just think either no one's going to migrate or everyone's going to migrate, and it kind of will just work itself out, to be honest. And I think they might just kind of wipe their hands of it and just say, we've offered migration, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's another thing too. I'm kind of curious why migration is getting pushed so far, just because of the fact, like, I don't know if it's more and more end game content or what. Like, it just kind of seems very, I think a lot of players were looking for migration back in October of last year. Actually, I believe a lot of back in August of last year is whenever I first was hearing about migration.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously we're a bit newer, so I say a bit newer, we're like still 13 months old, but like I'm still more than happy to sit here, for another 6 months. Like, that doesn't bother me. We've been able to obviously kind of create like a really good community, where we all share the one Discord, and we kind of have things going on in the Discord. I mean, like, you're in it, so you kind of know, like, we're always chatting every day.
Oh, no doubt.
We kind of have new faces, popping in, and everyone's kind of just like doing life together while we just play a bit of Avatar, and we all support each other. And I think it's kind of been an honor to kind of create that community here, to be honest. So
no doubt,
I'm more than happy to keep sitting here, but there are people that I want to play with or kind of have a bit more competition against. So there's also that aspect as well.
I get that. Yeah, and it's there's nothing wrong with those players that do want to kind of sit back and just play the game with a bunch of friends. They don't have to be super competitive. with it, especially with the upcoming server for server. I say upcoming, probably at the end of the year. Don't know. I'm not a dev.
It's coming soon. Coming soon.
Coming soon. Yeah. So we're getting close to that time. Here's Zeus. Pretty much just kind of wanted to, you want to say anything else pretty much at the end here while we wrap up?
Just keep grinding, keep playing, just keep pushing yourselves to be better. And really just jump in and, min-max. I know some people get bored, but you kind of just got to make your own fun. I mean, you look at, unofficial, we've kind of got like a bunch of rankings in there and stuff like that. So it kind of strives and helps to push each other to kind of break them and stuff like that. I know invasion ones get broken, often. I think we set the, glorious victory record, that really kind of helped our server kind of come together for 48 hours.
Get broken until like the next ports come out. So I'm just saying, like,
there's that aspect.
There is a lot of cool. I want to say even for the free to play players with that roar of the battle as well and so on. Like, there's a lot of things or a lot of rankings that you can kind of strive for too. So it's not just strictly I have to be 100 mil or 300 mil power player here to achieve or play in these rankings. So
yeah, it's just all about dedication and grinding. And that fort weekend generated like I think like 160 mil of each resource and like 20,000 minutes of speed ups. As a free to play, obviously you probably don't have that much AP, but you're still going to get a good significant portion of it. I think I was able to do Town Hall 30 upgrade just from the fort, so that was 100 mil, and that's a completely free to play account, and hadn't spent a dime of AP on that account. So it's definitely feasible to be able to still grind and push out as low spenders or free to play. You just got to be willing to put the time in.
Yeah, I agree. Well, on that note, I just want to say thank you so much, Zeus, for being a part of the podcast here. Hopefully we will see you soon into some future episodes. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. So just want to say thank you guys for listening in and being a part of this community that we're building here. We all love Avatar, and can't wait to see you in the next episode. Have a good night, everybody.